NFL Week 13 is here, and you're watching the 4Ps. What is that? Parlays, player props, and predictions. In this video, I have 3 player props, 2 of them being 2-unit plays. We'll talk about those in a second. And then, of course, I have our anytime touchdown parlay of the week. As always, if you are new, my name's Austin from Calling Our Shop. Before we dive into those things, we always got to be transparent and recap how we did the day before betting the NFL. And it was not a good Thanksgiving for us. An 0-3 day. We bounced back on Black Friday, cashing Aiden O'Connell's under in pass attempts. I mean, the 3 losses on Thanksgiving were just comical. Laporta had a catch return, called back. He had Cooper Rush. He threw it 36 times, 195 pass yards. And then Josh Jacobs under in rush attempts. Josh Jacobs didn't even sniff 50 rush yards, and he somehow still managed to go over in rush attempts. Painful. But either way, I digress. We're going to bounce back today, and it starts with cashing these 2-unit plays, and I'll dive into them in just 1 second. But as always, we love Underdog Fantasy here, and hey, if you want to sign up using my code, I certainly would appreciate it. Right now, they have a Brock Purdy free square for him to get 1 yard on Sunday Night Football. He's going to get that done, but it's only for new users that sign up using my code COS or the link in the description, and they'll match your first deposit up to $1,000. So take advantage of that. We use Underdog a ton in these videos. I don't have an entry at the end of this video, but you can put together all the 3 picks we're about to talk about, and I think that's going to pay out some good money for you, and you can throw in that Brock Purdy free square. Take advantage of that. A reminder, code COS, link in the description. This video is posted a little bit later than normal. I was traveling for the holidays, but we will have another NFL video with a bunch more props posted Saturday evening, a little bit later than normal, but tap into that. Make sure you don't miss out on that. I'll link it down below in the pinned comment. But let's begin with some plays. Now, normally I start with the anytime touchdown parlay, but we lost a couple in a row. So we're going to change things up, and we're going to start with the 2-unit plays. Then we'll go to the anytime touchdown parlay, and then we'll wrap up the video with another prop. First one, 2 units on Christian McCaffrey, over 95.5 rushing plus receiving yards, minus 114 on FanDuel. Now, if you don't know what units are, standard bankroll management term. 1 unit is typically 1 to 2% of your bankroll. And normally I stick to a lot of 1-unit plays, but I love Christian McCaffrey so much that I put 2 units on it. We've only done 1 2-unit play this season, and it was a winner. So we're trying to keep that undefeated streak with Christian McCaffrey. Now, last week, if you recall, we were on Christian McCaffrey, and him and the 49ers sucked. And we lost 1.5 units there. We're getting our money back this week with CMC. Now, like I said, last week was just a disaster class for him. Obviously, Brandon Allen started at QB, and they just sucked on every facet of the game. They were terrible. But Brock Purdy is expected back this week, and I just think this line's way too low. Since his return, CMC, 107, 108, and 68 yards last week. I mean, terrible. Last year, though, he was over this line in 16 of 19 games. Obviously, no Trent Williams here, and he's a big loss for their offensive line, but this matchup is just one that I have to take. It's one that I see him getting success on the ground. He could run for 70, 80. He could even hit this over in rush yards alone. But it's also one I could see him really getting the 50, 60, 70 receiving yards. It would not shock me at all. This season, the Bills have struggled in terms of stopping receiving running backs. This season, allowing the most receiving yards to running backs, as well as 4.6 yards per carry, which is the 10th highest. So again, you've been able to run on the Bills, and you've been able to pass to your running backs. They play a lot of too high coverage, so you're going to see a lot of open underneath coverage for a guy like Christian McCaffrey, which we know how elite he is at catching the football. Last week, Brandon Allen, I don't know what was wrong with him. He refused to throw it to CMC. He would be wide open. All you had to do is hit him on a slant route. He could probably take it up the field for like 25 yards. He refused to throw it to him. It was a lot of hike, first read. That's not the case with Brock Purdy. He's entering with a shoulder injury here, but I'm not too concerned about him. If anything, he'll be trying to check it down a little bit more than trying to stretch the ball down deep down the field. I love this spot for him. We've seen other running backs in November have big days against the Bills. Jonathan Taylor, he only had 8 receiving yards, but he had 122 rushing and receiving yards. Raheem Mostert had 88. Devon Achane, his teammate, had 121. So again, CMC is a guy that can do it all. He's playing a ton of snaps, and these are must-win games for the 49ers. On Sunday Night Football, CMC is getting us over 100 rushing and receiving yards, 2 units, my first 2-unit play of the week. We're getting our money back on CMC, just like we're getting our money back on the second 2-unit play of the week, and it's going to be a guy by the name of James Conner. Give me his over 45.5 rushing yards, minus 113 on FanDuel for 2 units. Look, I was going to get Q and take his regular line for 1 unit, go up to 70 plus for another half unit, go up to 200 plus, 200 plus, that'd be crazy, 100 plus. I'm not going to get Q and do that. I'm just asking James Conner to get us 50 rush yards. Heck, he can get 46, but I'd prefer 50 just to make sure if the line moves, everyone cashes here. I'm playing this for 2 units. As I said, last week, I backed James Conner, and the Cardinals offense sucked. They were terrible. James Conner was a part of that. 7 carries for 8 yards. What happened? I don't know, but they just were terrible. They were On third downs, they were 3 of 12. They got destroyed in the time of possession battle against the Cardinals or against the Seahawks. A disaster class of a play calling, offensive line blocking, everything was wrong. This week, I expect them to change things up, and this is why. Minnesota, who they play on Sunday, the Vikings, first in blitz percentage, first in pressure rate, third in hurry percentage. Again, the Vikings have had some games where they get ahead early and they're just blitzing the heck out of you. That is not where the Cardinals offense wants to be, where they're like, hey, we're in second and long. We have to throw it. What are you going to do? Yeah, they're going to blitz the heck out of Kyler Murray. And the Cardinals really don't want to get into that kind of game where it's like, all right, well, we're in second and long. We have to throw it, and we know they're bringing pressure, and we're going to have to block it. And that's a tough spot to be in against the Vikings. Instead, I expect them to establish the run game early. We've seen teams have success running the ball against the Vikings. Do they have the most rushing yards allowed in the NFL? No, but a lot of that is due to earlier this season where they were absolutely destroying teams. They were up by 20 plus, and teams had to abandon the run. We've seen the last 6 running backs to face this Vikings team and have at least 10 rush attempts. They finished with 30, 44, 48, 97, 100, and 116 yards, 4 of them going over. The 2 guys that missed, DeAndre Swift last week when the Bears decided to throw it about 50 times, and Travis Etienne, a Jaguars offense that has been a disaster of an offense this season. James Conner is not that. What did we just give James Conner? A 2-year extension. So we paid the man. Let's use him. Let's use the man on the ground where he's great. We've seen Conner have some bad games the last few years under their new head coach. And what did they do the next week? They gave the ball and the offensive line blocked well. Earlier this season, Conner, 17 rush yards versus the Lions. What happened the next week? 104. Really committed to the ground game against the Commanders in that game. They lost by 28. The next, a few weeks later, he had 24 yards versus the Packers. The next week after that, 101. You think that's just 2 examples? Go back to last year. He had a game where he had 27 yards on the ground. The next week, 105. This is a Cardinals offense that is predicated on running the football. They do not want Kyler Murray throwing it 40, 50 times. That's not how the Cardinals play football. This, I think, is a close game, and I think they have to establish the ground early in this one. And if they aren't establishing the ground, they're probably cooked here. I think this is a great spot for James Conner. Wouldn't shock me if he hit the over in the first half. This line is, in my opinion, 15, 20 yards too short. We should see him in the 60.5 range. I'll play 2 units, and I'll find out how James Conner doesn't get us 50 rush yards. That's just too low. I'll play it for 2 units, minus 113 on FanDuel. Sure. Why do I have 2 2-unit plays this week? Well, because sometimes I feel like we maybe stay everything at 1 unit, and some plays I might have more confidence in than others. And I really like these 2 with Christian McCaffrey and James Conner. So I'm playing each of them for 2 units, and I really think those are both coming back as 2-0 winners. Now I'm going to go to my anytime touchdown parlay. I do have a prop at the end of the video. We'll stay tuned for that. Just a 1-unit play there. The anytime touchdown parlay of the week, Bijan Robinson, Mike Evans, and Christian McCaffrey. Now, Bijan, this is plus 550 on DraftKings, all 3 to score a touchdown. Bijan's facing the Chargers. The Chargers haven't given up a ton of rushing touchdowns this year, but the Chargers have struggled on the ground. I haven't dove into that game a ton to see if I want to take Bijan's over in yards. I really just knew I was going to bet on CMC and James Conner and the guy that I'm about to talk about in a few minutes. But Bijan, I think he's got a great matchup. I think he could approach 100 rush yards here. The Chargers play a lot of 2 high safety coverage. So look, they're going to play a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of Bijan and Tyler Algier, just like the Ravens ran all over him last week. Should be another week for Bijan has a big game coming off a bye the week before. They got destroyed. So it's usually a big Bijan week. Mike Evans, love the match against the Panthers. Hint, I'll talk about him in a second. And CMC, I think he gets into the end zone on Sunday Night Football. They just got to figure it out. CMC can do it in the air, on the ground. He'll find his way into the end zone. Those are 3 guys, plus 550. I love that one. You got a 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and then a Sunday night game. That is a winner. Finally, my final prop of this video. Like I said, there'll be a video on Saturday evening. Might already be live by the time you're watching this. Thought I have a bunch more player props. I'm going to go get in the lab for a lot of other games. These were just the 3 spots I had circled, and I want to get this video out ASAP. This is only a 1-unit play. It's on Mike Evans, over 59.5 receiving yards at minus 120 on Bet365. I took the 60 plus. His regular line was like 61.5, so not a big difference. I'd probably play him up to 65.5. You can get cute if you want, taking Mike Evans to 80, 90, 100 yards. Do whatever you want. I think he gets at least 60. Now, there's a couple things you can trust on in life. Death, taxes, and Mike Evans versus the Carolina Panthers. Mike Evans' last 9 games versus Carolina, 60 plus in 8 of 9. 90 plus in 5 of 9. We'll note one of those games, he ended with 89. So technically, we're 89 in 6 of 9, and then 150 yards in 2 of those 9 games. He has torched the Carolina Panthers. He has a lot of touchdowns in there as well. hint why he's in the anytime touchdown parlay this week. And when they get into the red zone, we know they're looking for him. On the Panthers, I will admit, J.C. Horn, I do think he's really talented. However, the Panthers sometimes use J.C. Horn a little, I can't think of the right word. Maybe not smart. They'll put one-on-one coverage for Mike Evans against J.C. Horn. Obviously, they want to test out their young cornerback. Put Mike Evans in one-on-one coverage against J.C. Horn. Baker sees that, and he will throw it up. And I'm willing to live with Mike Evans versus anyone on one-on-one coverage. And we see Baker's, obviously last week, Mike Evans returned, cashed his over for us, had 68 yards in that game. And he really didn't play a whole complement of snaps. Big game here where they got to keep winning these games. And you look at his receptions line sitting at 4.5. The 4+ receptions, minus 270. His last 30 games where he's had 4 or more receptions, he's averaged 86 yards per game. Going over this in 22 of 30, which is about 73%. I don't know if he gets 4 or 5 receptions, but I'm pretty confident he does. He is the number one option on this offense. No Chris Godwin, and he's going to get one-on-one coverage. I know the Bucs can run the ball, but this is still a Bucs team that is very pass-heavy. They like to throw the football, and if Baker sees J.C. Horn on him one-on-one, that is a chance he's going to take, especially if it's like 3rd and long. He's going to throw it up, and I'm confident Mike Evans coming down with it. So I'm only playing this for 1 unit, but I really do like Mike Evans on Sunday. So I'll take him again. He's still trying to chase that 1,000 yards. He needs 92 per game, I think, the rest of the season. This could be a spot where he could make that 92 a little bit low. It could be a spot where he goes out there, gets 125 yards, and honestly would not shock me at all. I'll take Mike Evans. I'll take his over in yards. So the 3 props in this video, 2 2-unit plays. Christian McCaffrey, rushing and receiving. James Conner's over in rush yards. Mike Evans, just a 1-unit play, is over in receiving yards. We have that anytime touchdown parlay. I think I just cooked up a surgical play for you, surgical card. Those are 3 winners. I'm really confident in these picks. I'll have some more picks live on Saturday with some more props that I like. Maybe we'll dive in some of the bigger games of the week, like the Eagles and Ravens game, which I'll dive into that one. Right now, there's an NFL video where we talked about every single game on Sunday, gave you our favorite spread, lean, total, money line, whatever, you name it. I'll link it there. When the Saturday video, later one on the evening is live, I'll link it somewhere here with some more props. Have a great Sunday. Good luck on all your picks. Those 2-unit plays are smacking. That anytime touchdown parlay is smacking. And that Mike Evans prop might cash in the first quarter. Let's have a day. See you guys in the next one. Peace.